G'day everyone, welcome to another edition of Craps Down Under. Today we're going to try and get to our $3,000 milestone, which is basically $122 is what we have to make this session. So that's our target. Anything more than that is fine. It doesn't mean the session will give it to us. Let's get some reds. Alright. Get two rows of reds. That's 200. And I'll get some greens. Alright, there we go. So, what do we want to do? I think I'll use the lay again. Allow us to start at a slightly higher level. The other thing I'll have to do is get some whites. I need to do that. Let's grab a bunch of whites. Alright, good. So it means we can start at a 3-unit level on our 5, 6 and 8. Gives us a little bit more cover. Of course it is a bit higher risk if the 10 rolls. We are risking $40 to save 17 at risk. But the 10 only rolls half as often as the 7, so potentially it's a reasonable trade-off if the 10 doesn't roll too often. So it's going to be a lay, not a buy. Alright, and we'll be on. That's why we're putting the lay there in the first place. So let's come out, see what we get. And we've got 6. Alright, so that's a good start. And that will pay us 21. And we will be aggressive. Take all that back. And we will press up to the $30 level and 25 here. So we are being aggressive. Alright, let's see how we go. And we've got a 6. So can't ask for more than that. That's a great win. So it gives us 35 in profit. We can take down our lay now. It's done its job. We can also reduce down our bet. And we'll just go to the 2-unit level now. And remember we won 21 plus 35. Alright, that's over $50. Alright. So we can just rack that up. I'll try and keep that a little bit separate there. I'll keep 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, keep all that separate. Great. Just makes it a little bit easier to track our profit. I think it's really important to know where you are profit-wise at any point. Now 6, does that mean they hit their point? I believe they may have hit their point. So we'll go off. I'm going to still work. Shooter's doing everything right. We've got 6. Okay. That pays us 15 for 1. Right, so what do we want to do? We can afford to pick up something here. Maybe pick up the 9. Gives a little bit more probability, or we could just go into an iron cross, do that. We sacrifice a bit of profit here, but gives us a chance to pick up all the other numbers for cheap. So maybe we'll try that. 6. Okay, so we're loving those 6s today. So that's another 15, but we lose 15 for 1, but we lose 5 there to replace the field. So go back here. Now, do we want to work or not work? Let's work. they're doing everything right, so we'll just stick with it. 9, okay, so we win on the field. So I'm going to parlay it, and hopefully we'll get back-to-back fields. So I should mark 9 as the point. If we get a back-to-back field, then that'll give me some more money to then pick up some other numbers. Or just lock it up. 10, all right, so we've got a back-to-back. I kind of like to parlay the field. Does kind of work quite well. So if we want, we can pick up other numbers, or we can go, look, the shooter's had a good run. We can now just turn off, step aside, lock up what we've got here, save some cash. We don't have to go to the very end, because to go to the very end, we're still going to need quite a number of hits to make up what we have on the felt. We've got $34 on the felt. So if I avoid a 7 at this point, that's the same as me basically winning 35 bucks, which is, you know, going to be at least 2. Well, with the field there, it's quite a few hits to get that money back. We've had a good run. We've had some hits on the field. I'm quite happy to say, okay, that's okay. I'll just let the shooter roll out the rest of their hand. So we're off. We'll just see what happens. 3. So that would have been another field winner. Look, and there's nothing wrong. We could speculate on the field just with one bet. Just leave that out there and see if we can parlay it up. We could certainly do things like that. And there's the 7. So we were only one roll out from the 7, so I think we did the right thing there. So now what do I want to do? Well, this is basically paid for because we got a $35 hit and a $21 hit. We made some money on the field. So this action is basically paid for. I am actually okay to work it without using a lay bet. But just as we avoided the 7 last time, doesn't mean a 7 won't roll again. You can certainly do that. So maybe we could be less aggressive and let's say, well, we'll stay off on the come out. That's something we can also do. We don't need to, we don't need to kind of make a hit and get profit. Make a hit, press up to then cover our action. Our action's kind of paid for, so we can let's assess the shooter. The idea of being off is to just let's assess the shooter, and then we'll decide if we want to hop on that. There's a 4, that's an outside. So they didn't roll any rubbish, but it's still an outside number. Now, do I want to work them? Maybe. We'll see if they roll what they do. Hit their point outside. So the shooter's hitting their points. It would have been bad if we were on the don't. And remember, if you're playing a don't, you got the best number in the house, the 4 or the 10, they're the best, and you just got smacked. So just remember that when you get on the good numbers, doesn't really mean too much most of the time. You still get knocked off on them. So we're off again. 8. All right, so they've come to the inside. That's good. We could possibly work. We'll work for a roll or 2, see what happens. And unfortunately, smacked by the 7. So just goes to show that even being conservative, you're still exposed to the 7 on every single roll. All right, so let's go up at the 2 unit level. Now, maybe I'll use our lay bet. I'll just use a $30 lay. Only half, sort of basically not even quite half cover it, but a little bit of cover. Will work. Get some new dice coming out. And straight out, 7s. So that's quite a few 7s in a row that we've had. Had back-to-back 7s and a short roll on that previous shooters as well. So we lose all this, but we do get 15. We have to pay $1 big. But as you can see, we're down 15 basically $20 is what we're down, because we paid the dollar big. So, all right, I might just stay off, but I'll leave my layup. So it should be a layup here. I'll leave my layup, see if we get another 7. Got 3. And we've got an 8. All right, so there we go, there's an 8. So 8's the point. Do we want to risk it? I might just risk 2 units. The shooter seems to like throwing 7s. Doesn't mean they might go on a tear, but I'll just run the 2 units. Now this action is pretty much all paid for by this lay. 9, so we didn't get a hit yet. So maybe 1 or 2 more goes. We've got 6, all right. So just by doing this in the lay, we're basically covered, because we've only well, half of it. Let's say half of it's covered, but it's not too bad. Let's say, well, we've got 15 for 1. We're now basically covered. We've covered our action, plus we've got a lay. Now the question is do we want to work the lay? Because every roll we run it, there's a risk we're going to get a 10. So I'm kind of inclined now to say let's take down our lay. We've got basically the same exposure, because we just won effectively one of our bets. Right, we won $14. So we'll just run with what we've got there. Effectively a net, $16 exposure, somewhere around there. $14 exposure, whatever it is. It's not a lot. There's 24 here, we won 14, so $10 exposure. I'll get the math right. Whoops, off the table. And we've got the 8. All right, so now our exposure, getting that hit. We've paid for both the bets and locked up some profit. Do I want to stay up? They've hit their point. I'll stay off. So we're off by default. So I'll let the shooter do what they're going to do. Well, they got a 6. So the shooter's just hitting the numbers we like, which is good, even though they had some come out problems. They've done okay. So we'll be on now. By default, we're on. So we'll give them another shot. 10. So just as well we weren't working the lay. But it is telling me, maybe they've gone off the boil. So no problem now, just to reduce it down, lock up some back in our rack, and just play the minimum. And we can build up from here. If they have a great roll, great, we'll build up from here. Again, they've gone off the boil even more. It's two numbers. So this is basically the last shot they get from me before I turn off. All right, there's a 9, so they're back on the inside, but I think I'll go off. There's a 6, so we missed out on 1. But gave them a few goes, and there's the 8. So back on the inside again, and it's very, very tempting to want to enter in again. So that should have been a point made, point set. So now we're back in a new round. Look, they haven't rolled 7. I'm expecting the 7 to be a feature sometime soon, just because of the number of rolls they've had. It's bound to come up after so many rolls, given the percentage of it. 9. So we've missed a couple of hits. Look, and that's okay. Those 2 bets would have been probably pressed now, so we may not have collected anything on them. 12. And there's the 7. So I think we did the right thing being off, because we would have got paid $7. Probably would have pressed up. Sorry, grabbed the wrong colour then. Would have been pressed up, and then got nothing for it. Maybe $2 extra in our rack. So I think we did the right thing. I think it's probably better to play at 2 units and a play an iron cross probably at that point. But anyway, do 2 units. All right, 2 units. I'm going to try going on the come out. We'll see what we get. We've got an 8. All right, 15 for 1. I'm going to try and press to mark the point. All right, so hoping to get under second hit. So that's a 10, 6, 4, 10. Just as well we weren't having LA work. And we got 2, 4, 6. All right, so we've got our second hit. That gives us a $21 win. Oh, we're happy about that. Now we can regress down and effectively lock up around $35, which would cover all of our action, or we can again be aggressive and press and only lock up a little bit of money. So I'm going to try this. I'll give it a roll, maybe 1 or 2 rolls, and that's about it. And then I will take my action back down and do the regress. So I'm willing to indulge at a roll or 2. I'm not going to just stay up with my winnings pressed up if they're not going to hit. Doesn't mean we won't get caught on a 7. So it can always happen. We got the 8. All right. So the shooters hit their point, which is excellent. We get paid 28, and I can afford to pay it out as a green this time, because our reds are all full. And now we can regress down with profit, and maybe regress down to the 2 unit level. 2 units, and in fact I might just put 1 there, and I might play an iron cross here. We'll see how we go with that. As you can see, we've got, just keeping a track of where we're at. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm 1 short there, so I do need to put 1 in there. 4 and all right. So there's 200 in greens, 200 in blacks. That's 400, 500, 600. And I've got 600, so I've got 50. Basically got 100 if I do that in profit. All right, so I've got $100 profit, plus I've got 20 on the felt. I'm going to call it quits. So I'm actually going to call it quits. I've made my target, made my 3K. There's my 120. A little bit more than that because we've got some whites. We need 122 to get across the line. We've done it because of the whites. All right, so again another green. $130. Now I think I did colour these up. I think it's 136. So not too bad. Pretty happy about that. Made our target, made our 3K. Let's grab this, take this down. Not quite enough to get that one. We get 2 blacks. Right, so that gets all of our bankrolls up to 600. Right, they're all at 600. Right, 600, 600, 600, 600. Right, so we've got all of our bankrolls all in reserve. Made our target. I'm going to the cashier's cage. I'm done. Happy, done my job. 100 here, plus 100 here. That's 200. 200. Right, so it's all coloured up. And we've got a little bit here. Put that there. So finally target made. Don't need to stay any longer. We'll see what the shooter would have done. 6, okay. So maybe they got the 6. And there's the 7. So checked out at the right time, if that was what rolled. All right, so glad we made our 3K. That was our target all along. We had some sessions where it didn't go too well. Had some pretty tough sessions along. Whoops, knocking chips down. Need to get a bigger table. Once I finish building my my craps table, it'll be a lot better. Anyway, that's a work in progress. It's yeah, it's taken me a bit of time, but it is certainly something I'm enjoying doing and building. I'm not a carpenter or anything like that, so it takes me time to do things. But yeah, it's something I thought I'll build my own craps table, and yeah, I'm trying to do a nice, neat job of it, and yeah, so it's more like a bit of furniture, not something I have to hide in the basement or out in the garage. So yeah, it's getting there. But yeah, I'm not a carpenter. I don't have a lot of tools or things like that. So, but once I do get that finished, I'll be playing from my real craps table, and I'll do my videos from that table rather than this spare table that I'm doing things on at the moment, where my chips keep falling on the floor, which is the whole point of my little story there. So anyway, I'm very happy. We made our target, made our 3K, you know. All right. 5, wish that was 6K, $600 bankrolls. And you could treat that as a dealer tip or whatever, go and get a beer or something. But what I'm going to do, what's my plan from here? Okay, my plan from here is I'm going to build this session bankroll up to probably 800, somewhere around there. Once I've got another couple hundred in my rack, I'll then be looking to increase each of these by 200. All right, and that'll basically get me to the next $1,000. Right, so it's basically take us to 4K. So I'll be playing at 800. You know, couple of sessions we'll get to 800. Good sessions we'll get to 800. We might not have good sessions. We might make losses. We might have, you know, sessions where we don't get any profit at all, or only a very modest amount, because that's just what the table gives us on that day. But the idea and the goal is get to 800 and then build these to 800, and then from there, once we get to our 800, our minimum profit target's higher because we've got a larger bankroll. That does give us more safety within a session to play the bets where we could probably play at the next unit level up. So that's kind of the idea behind, you know, playing with the larger session bankroll. You can make bigger wagers on the table. Doesn't mean you won't get wiped out in your session. That's always a distinct possibility, and it doesn't matter what strategy you play. There's always adverse dice rolls that'll blow out your session bankroll, no matter what you do. So that's why we're building these guys, and that's why I want to have a lot of these, because I know over time you could have back-to-back three. You know, it's not improbable that you could have 3 bad sessions and get decimated just by some very unlucky rolls. And you know, you make the wrong move at the wrong time. You know, you might be putting it on the 5 or putting it on the 9, and it's hitting the 5, all sorts of things. Put a lay, as soon as you put a lay, you get hit. It doesn't matter what you do, you just get smashed, smashed, smashed. And you could have, that could happen several times over, a couple of sessions back to back even. So that's why we're building these up. Ideally, I want to have a lot more than just 4, and that's what we'll be doing. We'll keep building more and more resilience into our bankroll, and what the effect of that is what we're playing in a session is only a very small percentage of our overall bankroll. And that's kind of where I want to be. Still be conservative, play conservative within what our session bankroll allows in terms of number of adverse events in a session. So this allows me to bet a certain size because I've got $600. I'm going to only survive so many adverse events before I run out of runway. But even if that goes bad, I've now got some backup bankrolls that I can recover from. And that's kind of the idea of that. I just want to have more of these. And the more of these I have, the more that I'm putting at risk in a session is so much smaller of my overall bankroll. And that's why you can go in and go, well, yeah, it didn't win that session. Didn't have a good outcome, but that's okay. It's only a fraction of our overall bankroll. And then once you get to that point, you can actually now have your session wins actually coming into your lifestyle. You can actually start getting your hobby can actually start paying you some money. So you're not only having fun and enjoying playing at the table, you can actually you can even say take your winnings, play the first session, the conservative approach, take some of those winnings, so half those winnings, and then play them in more of a long, recreational kind of play where you're really more concerned about just enjoying some time at the table. And if you get a win, great. And if you don't, well, that's okay. So, you can do whatever you want, but still keep maintaining this as your base. Keep maintaining this. And that's the idea. But I'll see how far we can build this. I don't know how long I'll keep doing the series for, but I'll still keep at it as long as there's interest for me to keep going. I'll probably keep doing it. So thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you again very soon as we go on our road to 4K.